For 5 full seconds, let that single line linger in the dark. Then, picture a screen flaring to life with a swirl of pink-gold sparks, the kind of dreamy palette that once sold thousands of people on the promise of forever love. A calm voice enters, almost conspiratorial. What if that promise came with a price you never saw coming? A price paid not in roses and rings, but in sleepless nights, drained bank accounts, and friendships that evaporated the moment you dared to question the process. Nearly a decade ago, an Ontario-born couple named Jeff and Shalea Devine clicked upload on a grainy YouTube video announcing that every soul on Earth had a twin flame, one perfect mirror who would heal every wound. Their channel was small, the lighting terrible, the message intoxicating. Within 3 years, they were charging more than $4,000 for step-by-step coaching on how to manifest that cosmic partner. By 2023, Netflix and Amazon Prime were releasing back-to-back docuseries chronicling the fallout, featuring former followers who described obsession, identity confusion, even alleged coercive control. But the real shock arrived on July 1, 2025. At dawn, the Michigan Attorney General's office, backed by state police and federal agents, executed search warrants at 2 homes linked to the Devines. Computers, phones, handwritten ledgers, boxed up and hauled away. Press cameras rolled as investigators cited multiple complaints of psychological manipulation and financial exploitation. Twin Flames Universe, the self-styled Church of Union, was suddenly at the center of a criminal probe. That single raid sent ripples through thousands of paid member chat rooms. Some devotees dismissed it as a test of faith, others quietly disabled auto-billing. And viewers far outside that digital sanctuary asked a chilling question. How does a message about eternal love twist into something that looks, at least from the outside, like a high-pressure cult? That's the journey we're taking today. Over the next few minutes, we'll trace the arc of Twin Flames universe from hopeful YouTube experiment to headline-grabbing controversy. We'll examine the seductive techniques, the mirror exercise that blames every rejection on your own unresolved wounds, the expensive ascension packages dangling enlightenment behind a paywall, the gender assignment doctrines that told some members they were divine masculine or divine feminine and had to change their names or even their bodies to prove it. We'll hear survivor voices that pierce the fairy tale marketing, and we'll unpack the legal storm now gathering over Leelanau County, Michigan. Stay with me, because each chapter will pull back another layer, revealing how language of cosmic destiny can disguise ever-tightening demands for loyalty and cash. And when we reach the end, I'll invite you to breathe, reset, and consider where healthy devotion ends and coercive control begins. But first, let's rewind to the very beginning, when a low-resolution video and a promise of soulmate certainty sparked a movement no one could have predicted. It started innocently, almost quaintly, with a grainy 2014 upload titled "Cracking the Code of True Love." In the frame stood Jeff and Shalea, a 20-something couple squeezed into a dim Michigan apartment, promising viewers a secret map to the one soul who would reflect your divinity back like glass. The video drew only a few hundred clicks, but comments poured in. How do I find mine? Will this heal my breakup? That early trickle told the pair everything. They'd tapped a well of longing far deeper than views could measure. By 2016, they rebranded themselves the Twin Flames Universe and traded YouTube's free advice for a tiered coaching model. Entry-level guidance cost a friendly $220. The flagship Twin Flame Ascension School debuted in 2017 at $4,444, a price Jeff defended with a grin. It's all fours, the number of angels. You're literally paying for divine alignment. Strangely, the numerology pitch worked. Couples aching for cosmic confirmation clicked Add to Cart, convinced they were aligning with fate, not maxing out credit cards. Growth was viral but quiet, hiding in plain sight across closed Facebook groups. By late 2018, membership topped 10,000. Weekly live streams featured Shalea's serene smile and Jeff's preacher-like cadence, converting heartbreak into a sales funnel. The formula: share a personal breakthrough, tease an exclusive method, then upsell to the next level package. One follower recalls Jeff declaring, "Your twin flame is already chasing you. You just don't know how to receive them yet. Pay attention to today's homework." The homework? Book a private $888 harmonious union consultation before midnight. When skeptics asked for credentials, Jeff leaned on mystique. He painted himself as a mystic scholar of A Course in Miracles and proclaimed that he and Shalaya were the physical embodiment of Father and Mother Christ. Mainstream viewers snickered. Devoted students felt goosebumps of destiny. Their faith translated into glowing testimonials splashed across the Twin Flames website. Engagements, reconciliations, even a few Vegas weddings live-streamed for the community. Every success story reinforced the brand's central promise: commit fully, and the universe will bend to your love life. Yet beneath the pastel graphics and angel number hashtags, the ministry's machinery was revving faster than anyone outside could see. Prices inched upward, homework got harsher, live stream hours stretched deep into the night, and behind closed Zoom rooms, a new mantra emerged: union is inevitable, but only if you never give up. But never giving up soon meant chasing someone who wanted nothing to do with you, and that's where the story starts to darken. The universe has already written your love story. All you have to do is read it. Then came the mirror exercise, a 4-step ritual he called spiritual physics. First, identify your trigger. He isn't texting me back. Second, flip it inward. I'm not texting myself back. Third, forgive yourself for the wound. Finally, love the part of you that felt abandoned. Jeff insisted that if you repeated this cycle long enough, the outside world would mirror your healed interior, and your twin flame would have no choice but to return. On paper, it sounded empowering: take control of your emotions, heal your own heart. In practice, it formed a perfect sales funnel, because if the mirror didn't reflect fast enough, the fault could never lie with the method. It had to lie with you for doing it wrong. And the remedy? Upgrade to the next coaching tier. That's where the numbers began to climb. After the 444 Ascension School came private life purpose boot camps priced at $7,500. There were fast-track bundles for $11,111 and whispered offers of one-on-one guidance that former insiders say ran well over $20,000. The sums felt mystical angel numbers, repeating digits, as if maxing a credit card were itself a cosmic handshake. When the pandemic hit in early 2020, loneliness pushed signups into overdrive. Isolation meant endless time for Zoom calls. Stimulus checks softened the financial blow. Jeff and Shalaya launched marathon live streams titled Manifest Your Twin Flame Quicker Than COVID Spreads. Viewers laughed at the dark humor, then clicked PayPal. By midsummer, their private Facebook group swelled past 14,000 members, each profile picture radiating hope that the next lesson would be the breakthrough. But hope alone doesn't guarantee obedience. To seal the promise, the leaders showcased glossy testimonial reels, reunited exes kissing on camera, wedding rings flashing under soft lighting, couples claiming they'd literally merged souls after mastering the exercise. Skeptical? Jeff would point to these success stories and smile. See, union is inevitable if you're willing to face yourself. Facing yourself, however, began to mean something else entirely. Members were encouraged to message their supposed twin flame daily, no matter how many times they were blocked. Resistance is just fear, coaches said. Keep mirroring until fear collapses. Some followers racked up restraining order warnings, others spiraled into guilt, convinced every ignored text proved a flaw inside their own spirit. And with each emotional dip, Twin Flames Universe offered a new, higher-priced solution. The cycle was almost flawless. Doubt led to coaching. Coaching magnified attachment. Attachment bred more doubt. Money flowed upward, desperation spiraled downward until the search for eternal love began to look a lot like sanctioned obsession. But the real tipping point came when love wasn't merely chased. It was re-engineered, right down to a person's very identity. By late 2019, the mirror exercise had infected daily life inside Twin Flames Universe like background music you can't switch off. Every missed call, every ignored DM was framed as a cosmic invitation to go deeper. Coaches repeated the mantra in Telegram chats that never slept. Union is inevitable, persist until reality bends. That persistence soon leapt from screens into sidewalks. Take Marissa, a soft-spoken nurse from Oregon who joined after a brutal breakup. When her ex blocked her number, a TFU mentor told her, "Blocks are just fear, keep loving him louder." Armed with that blessing, Marissa drove 8 hours to his city, left letters on his windshield, and waited outside his gym to hold space. A week later, she was served a restraining order notice. Back in the Facebook group, coaches clapped virtual hands. Congratulations, court documents mean the old pattern is dying. The 888 AE TAR Emergency Harmonious Union session that followed was marketed as the final push to break resistance. Stories like hers multiplied. One man spent months posting TikTok duets for a woman who had clearly moved on, tagging NAR twin flames so often that her new partner filed cyber harassment claims. In private Zoom rooms, Jeff laughed off the legal threat. You can't stalk your destiny is already yours. The line landed like scripture, and wallets opened for the next coaching tier. Yet the emotional tab ran even higher than the financial one. Friends outside the movement watched loved ones sink into tunnel vision phones buzzing at 2 a.m. With screenshots of runner activity, eyes glazed from replaying old Instagram stories for hidden signs of awakening. If a twin flame posted a selfie with someone new, coaches reframed it as proof the mirror exercise was working. He's triggered and acting out stay the course. The pressure cooked hottest in late 2020, when a Vanity Fair expose quoted former insiders calling TFU a masterclass in love bombing weaponized as sales. Jeff fired back on stream, labeling critics haters stuck in separation consciousness. Shalia added a softer dagger. When people quit, they're choosing fear. Don't let their brokenness distract you from love. The US versus them line drew even tighter. Members who voiced doubts were asked to repeat the mirror exercise on their doubt, then urged to book an 1,111 clearing session. Psychologists have a term for this spiral: coercive persistence, when a belief system flips personal boundaries into moral failings. Inside TFU, persistence wasn't just a virtue, it was salvation. And the longer someone persisted, the more their identity fused with the chase. Bank statements thinned, social circles shrank, but hope stayed fat on promises of an imminent breakthrough. Yet for some, even relentless pursuit wasn't enough. If the mirror refused to change, Jeff offered a more radical reshape the mirror itself, starting with who you were allowed to be. By early 2021, Jeff slipped a new revelation into late-night live streams. Every soul carried both divine masculine and divine feminine energy, but one polarity must lead the dance. If your union stalled, it meant you were misaligned with your true polarity. The cure? Accept the role Jeff discerned for you, even if it shattered who you thought you were. At first, the fixes looked harmless. A coach would say, "You're the divine masculine, grow a short beard, ditch the floral tops, claim your power." Or, "Feminine energy whispers in pastels, buy a pink phone case so the universe reads your signal." Followers posted makeover selfies, thrilled by cosmic purpose. Likes poured in, Jeff screen captured each glow-up as proof his teachings worked. But assignments escalated. Some members were told their birth names carried separation vibration and must be shed. Telegram chats filled with rechristenings. Jessica became Jessa Rose. Andrew answered only to Phoenix Light. Inside Zoom rooms, slipping back to a legal name drew gentle correction. "Beloved, that's not who you are anymore." Then came the gender pivots. If Jeff intuited that a female follower actually held divine masculine energy, she was urged to crop her hair, practice a deeper voice, even explore testosterone therapy. One trans man celebrated for claiming his feminine core was nudged to reverse his medical transition. Coaches framed these changes as destiny's healing, not erasure of autonomy. Critics outside TFU balked. Insiders flooded the chat with heart emojis. Ritual sealed the grip. Each Sunday service, newly renamed students read surrender statements. "I release all identities blocking my harmonious union." The group unmuted in chorus amen, amen, while coaches logged attendance for billing. When a friend or therapist questioned the speed of these transformations, members ran the doubt through the mirror exercise until the external voice dissolved. Finances threaded every metamorphosis. A polarity audit cost $333. Identity realignment packages hit $5,555, bundled with voice coaching and wardrobe consults led by senior students. Paying the fee was framed as both sacrifice and seed money. Invest in your God self, and the universe reimburses in miracles. Debit alerts pinged phones like sacred bells. Outside observers soon labeled it DIY conversion therapy in pastel wrapping. Jeff waved the critique away. "We don't convert, we uncover." Yet more and more families found themselves FaceTiming children who looked and spoke utterly different after mere weeks inside the program. Identity, once marketed as self-love, had become pliable clay in the leader's hands, and the molding wasn't finished. Because once a follower's reflection finally matched the doctrine, the next lesson demanded proof of devotion in time, labor, and cold cash. As identities blurred and bank alerts chimed, Twin Flames Universe erected a new inner sanctum, the Executive Council. Billed as Guardians of Christ Consciousness, this hand-picked tier answered directly to Jeff. Admission wasn't free. Applicants tithed 10% of all income and pledged 40 volunteer hours a week, editing YouTube clips, moderating chats, or designing pastel pink merch reading, "Union is inevitable." Jeff framed the workload as sacred duty. Serve God and God serves your union. Inside the council's Slack workspace, a spreadsheet tracked everything. Tithe amounts, coaching renewals, even private milestones such as DM from Twin Flame at 3:17 a.m., sign of progress. Members who slipped on payments received friendly nudges that hardened if balance lingered. Beloved, money is simply love in motion. Let it flow. Those who asked for extensions found their Zoom links revoked until invoices cleared. Isolation followed structure. Council members were encouraged to limit contact with low-vibration relatives critical of TFU. When one student, Eleanor, hesitated to skip her sister's wedding, Shalea messaged privately, "Family who reject your path reject God within you. Bless them from afar." Eleanor watched the ceremony on silent Instagram stories while clipping timestamps for Jeff's next sermon. Weekends, once reserved for self-care, morphed into union work parties, 6-hour Zoom marathons where disciples cold-called lapsed customers, drafted blog posts, or spliced testimonial reels. Jeff would pop in unannounced, his voice crackling like a principal's over loudspeaker. "Remember, the kingdom doesn't build itself." Applause emojis flooded the chat. Webcams stayed on to prove diligence. Burnout became a badge of devotion. The bleaker the under-eye circles, the brighter the halo of purpose. Money moved upward seamlessly. Stripe statements show monthly gross revenue cresting $650,000 by mid-2022, funneled through newly formed LLCs Love Consciousness Media, Harmonious Union Productions. A former council treasurer says she wired $120,000 in tithe over 2 years, convinced each transfer was seed money for miracles. Her miracle never arrived. The refund policy stayed cosmic and vague. Outside, red flags multiplied. Parents filed missing adult reports when sons abandoned college for full-time union work. Financial advisors watched clients liquidate savings under the spell of angel numbers. Ex-members launched Reddit threads comparing notes. Discovering identical scripts coaxed them into silence. If you doubt, you delay your union. The crescendo hit October 2023. Netflix released Escaping Twin Flames, splicing hidden camera audio of council meetings where Jeff threatened to kick energetically weaklings to the curb. On Twitter, tracker Twin Flame cult trended for 48 hours. Jeff live-streamed a rebuttal, eyes blazing. They feared divine truth. Donations spiked that night. Doubt also spread. For regulators, the docuseries served as a siren. Complaint numbers tripled in Michigan, Ontario, and Australia, pointing investigators toward a single question. Were Jeff and Shalea selling spiritual coaching or running a high-pressure, for-profit ministry edging into fraud? With cameras rolling and authorities closing in, the spotlight grew hotter, triggering public denials, behind-the-scenes damage control, and eventually the raid that shattered TFU's veneer of harmony. The wider world first heard whispers of Twin Flames universe in tabloids and true crime podcasts, but the movement truly broke the algorithm in November 2023. That's when Netflix dropped Escaping Twin Flames, and 1 week later, Amazon Prime counter-programmed with Desperately Seeking Twin Flame. Suddenly, the pastel-wash sermons were stitched beside tear-soaked confessionals, and a love story that once lived in private Facebook corners was binge-watched in living rooms across 5 continents. Numbers tell the tale. Google searches for Twin Flames cult spiked 1,400% the morning after the Netflix premiere. Reddit spun up a dedicated forum overnight. Ex-members posted screenshots of unpaid invoices, anxiety-ridden journal entries, even voice notes from coaches urging them to starve out. Journalists smelled blood in the algorithm and dove deep. Vanity Fair, Rolling Stone, and Canada's Fifth Estate each published long-form investigations linking the group to stalking complaints in 8 U.S. states and 2 Canadian provinces. Jeff's first response was swagger. He live-streamed to 2,500 loyal viewers, calling the docuseries fear porn and daring the filmmakers to debate him. Shalea sat beside him, calm as a candle, repeating a single line between his rants, "Love always wins." Donations rolled in so quickly that on-screen alerts couldn't keep up. Yet outside that digital sanctuary, the couple's bravado rang hollow. Regulators were already circling. The Michigan Attorney General's Consumer Protection Unit noted a jump from 6 formal complaints in 2022 to 29 in the first quarter of 2024, allegations ranging from deceptive advertising to undue influence resulting in financial ruin. In Ontario, the Ministry of the Attorney General confirmed it was monitoring cross-border reports. And in Australia, a senator cited TFU while pushing for stricter regulation of online spiritual coaching. Pressure mounted internally, too. Council members leaked Slack snippets showing frantic rebranding meetings. Rename as Church of Harmonious Union? Drop price points until the heat cools? One coach suggested moving operations to Costa Rica for sovereignty vibes. Jeff shot it down. God isn't fleeing. But the mere suggestion signaled panic. Then came the moment that shattered the walls of serenity. At 5:42 a.m., July 1st, 2025, unmarked SUVs rolled up to 2 suburban homes in Leelanau County. Body cam footage later obtained by local news showed agents cataloging laptops, thumb drives, handwritten ledgers labeled Divine Finances. A spokesperson for the Michigan AG confirmed multiple allegations of fraud and coercive control were under active investigation. No arrests yet, but the raid alone detonated across social media. Followers flooded Telegram with crying emojis. Critics offered digital champagne toasts. Jeff tried one last live stream that night, face drawn, lighting harsh. He spoke of persecution, warned of karmic backlash, and begged disciples to double your prayers and your tithes. Viewership hit a record high, so did refunds. By dawn, even die-hard fans were asking themselves a forbidden question. When does eternal love become too high a price? Behind the scenes, the Divines scrambled for a lifeboat, a rebrand, a retreat, a fresh prophecy. But destiny, once marketed as inevitable, now looked dangerously unpredictable. The morning after the raid, Twin Flames Universe went silent. Livestream links crashed to 404, Facebook groups shifted to private, and Jeff's Telegram channel displayed a single cryptic post. Every crucifixion hides a resurrection. Followers refreshed their screens for hours, hungry for the next directive. None came. Behind the blackout, core leaders huddled in Zoom rooms titled Project Phoenix. Leaked screenshots later showed frantic brainstorming. Rename everything, keep the doctrine. The frontrunner label became Church of Harmonious Union, same initials, softer vibe. Domain names were pre-purchased, logos drafted in pastel sage, and a new tagline surfaced, Where Love Goes to Heal. Even angel numbers were respun. 444 shifted from ascension to steady foundation, hinting that the shakeup was all part of a cosmic renovation. Rebrands need revenue, so a fresh product appeared. Unionism retreats, 5-day intensives promise to detox your mirror in the forests of northern Michigan. Early bird price $333, lodging extra. Promotional emails claimed the location was sacred land far from 3D interference, though satellite imagery later revealed a shuttered summer camp previously used by a YMCA. The invite list was limited to vibrationally aligned students, code for those who hadn't filed refund disputes. Rumors swirled of an even bolder move, purchasing acreage in Costa Rica to build New Lemuria, a commune where Wi-Fi would be gated and outside news filtered for fear. A leaked voice note captured Jeff's pitch. We're birthing heaven on earth. Police can raid buildings, but they can't raid consciousness. Some disciples cheered, others gulped at the cost. Membership buy-in was floated at $555 per couple, with agricultural love labor replacing traditional tithes. Yet the brand makeover faced headwinds. Payment processors began flagging TFU-linked LLCs for elevated chargeback risk, freezing thousands in pending transactions. Shopify yanked merch stores after a sudden flood of refund claims cited deceptive practices. Even Facebook, slow to police fringe spiritual groups, locked the main Twin Flames page for potential fraud review. With revenue arteries constricting, Jeff urged loyalty pledges in a midnight audio. If you truly believe, wire your tithe directly. Love bypasses middlemen. Public perception cramped tighter. Former members launched TikTok series unpacking their escape arcs, and journalists updated stories with the new church name, ensuring SEO chased every pivot. When a Michigan news anchor cornered Jeff in a grocery store parking lot, he offered a brittle smile. "We're just a married couple teaching love. Free country, isn't it?" The clip went viral, clocking 3 million views and a comment avalanche reading simply, "Run, don't walk." Inside dwindling group chats, hope fogged into confusion. Was the rebrand a phoenix or a paper mask? And if paradise required constant renovation, new names, new lands, new fees, how solid was the promise of forever love to begin with? Before we answer that, let's step outside the storm for a moment, breathe, reset, and remember what healthy self-reflection can feel like. Take a second right where you are. Feel your shoulders drop. Notice the quiet between heartbeats. All afternoon, we've sifted through obsession, identity swaps, and midnight spreadsheets of tithes. It's heavy, so let's step away from glowing screens and pastel doctrines for a breath of ordinary life. Picture steam curling from a ceramic mug, city lights flickering in the distance, a journal open to a blank page that asks nothing but honesty. In spaces like that, healing tends to whisper instead of preach. And if you'd like a gentle companion for the quieter hours, meet Garin Nguyen, a 29-year-old Vietnamese author who has published 13 books on love's softer underbelly. Her essays in Just Hear Me Out trace small, stubborn hopes that survive heartbreak. Her short story collection, A Luxury Item Called Me, explores self-worth like a vintage perfume rare, lingering, unmistakably personal. Both titles live on Amazon, waiting for nights when algorithms feel too loud. No, these books won't promise a cosmic guarantee. They won't charge you angel number tuition or rename your soul. What they offer instead is perspective, stories of people stumbling, standing up, and choosing tenderness over certainty. Sometimes the most radical thing we can do after all the manifesting and mirror work and high vibes only talk is to admit we're human, full stop, and that's already enough to deserve calm. So breathe, maybe pour that tea. Let the steam fog the mirror for once, so you aren't tempted to read a prophecy into your own reflection. In a minute, we'll return to finish our tale, but for now, taste what an unhurried heartbeat feels like. That steady rhythm is proof you're still here, and here is a pretty good place to start healing. Ready? Let's gather the threads and see where this story finally lands. We began with a glowing promise that somewhere out there, a cosmic twin was waiting to complete you. We traveled through entry-level webinars and 4-digit price tags, past restraining order courthouse steps and late-night identity audits, until we stood outside 2 raided houses in Michigan watching investigators box up the hard drives of paradise. Along the way, we saw how hope turns pliable when laced with fear, how never give up on love can morph into never stop paying, never stop chasing, never stop doubting yourself. Twin Flames Universe marketed devotion as destiny, persistence as holiness, and obedience as the only route to bliss. Yet every step toward that bliss seemed to cost a little more, another dollar, another boundary, another shard of personal agency. When doubts surfaced, the solution was always inward. Mirror harder, pay higher, surrender deeper. Love, rebranded as a purchase plan, became indistinguishable from control. And now? The rebrand hovers, the investigations grind on, and thousands of followers stand at a crossroads between faith and wake-up call. Maybe some will double down, convinced persecution proves righteousness. Maybe others will log out, let the chat tabs go dark, and rediscover that ordinary affection, messy, reciprocal, unpaid, was never out of reach. Here's the question worth carrying beyond this video. When the quest for perfect union demands that you shrink, contort, or bankrupt yourself, is it still love or has it slipped into something more dangerous? The answer isn't tucked inside a coaching package or a prophetic live stream. It waits in small moments of clarity, in the calm after a long breath, in pages of a book that doesn't claim divinity, In the mirror on a morning you decide your reflection is already whole. So as the credits roll, keep your curiosity sharp and your boundaries sharper. Delight in romance, sure, but remember, true connection never asks you to erase your name, your savings, or your sleep. And if anyone sells you eternity with a countdown timer, consider that the biggest red flag of all. Thank you for watching. If this story resonated, share it with a friend who might need the warning and maybe gift them a quiet evening with Garin Guyon's words instead of another algorithmic promise. Because sometimes the most revolutionary act is simply choosing a love that lets you remain yourself.